men sa taki
addugol be wiidani firtani wigol wonda be nabete direct ka window be duma ka window be window be halaji wadi sibe addama ko bebe men jodina betam men landobe taw.
You are correct in that they were brought in already tortured and presented to the panel to be interviewed.
Don de ko gonga be lappat dumen ha para be adda dumen der suudu o be jodina dumen e yeso panel o pour ben wawa fuddade lamdugol mabbe.
Correct?
I agree that some of them were tortured, yes.
Mi jabi do wonda ma wodi e mabbe be andana wonda be tappama ma be hebi cadele musude.
Before the break we have also agreed, you have also agreed that members of the panel knew that these people who were brought, some of them were tortured.
Do me ya mbotari kala holli wonde ma andi wobbe wona fof kono wobbe no be yimbe mo anduda be lappama ha para be adda dumen yeso yeso panel o do e der suudu don.
True. Gonga.
Before the break we were talking about the interview environment.
Do men ya mbotari meden yewtano kala fi e no be lamdirta yimbe ben der suudu ndu no wauno.
You have said that those who brought in the suspects wore black and face and masks or balaclavas as some would call them. They had weapons which was intimidating.
Wida kala be yimbe mo anduda kambe bornoto ko bawli kambe addata yimbe mo anduda be ni ko yimbe tumabe tenon sita be ni adda dumen wobbe mabbe ta be marat fetelaji tokosi e bandu mabbe tenon dum kala no hulbini no wonno don e der suudu ndu.
Yes.
The last point we dealt with before the break was whether inside the panel, inside the room, whether that environment was also intimidating.
Do men acci yewterende do men yaha ko dum woni e der suudu ndu don e der sal o piiji din no woniri don e yimbe wonbe e der don e arobe don sa ndari haaju on no woniri don kala no wawno dal hulbinat wobbe.
That's the point we were discussing.
Ko don men acci no yewterende.
So let me now ask the question again.
Joni mi lamdoto dum tatin.
You said the interview environment, the room where the interrogations were going on was tense. So I ask you again whether that environment was fearful or was it intimidating?
Mi lamdoto dum tatin ko dum woni e der on suudu don e der on sal mawdo don. No piiji din woniri don no haaju on yarata ni mi lamdono ma sita don e der don no wuli walla ko tuba ko be wiata tent sita no wayno non ta don non hulbina wobbe no hulbini dal nda wona non wonno.
That was my feeling and I believe others also feel the same.
No min mi urno te mi do tanjini kadi wobbe kadi be wondi ton be ngari ko non yiri affaire no walo.
In that basis, can we conclude that the environment too was fearful, it was intimidating?
Awa do dum non membawat humno de yewterende do ender on jama ender sudundu don ton no hulbini tenon no wawno dal hewbe bernde mabbe nan wawata jodade sitabe woni don.
That was my feeling, yes, Council.
Mi ngari kono mi yiruno jonde kono mi jettirno dum kadi hulbini.
We have received testimonies from members of the panel or the statement takers. We have received testimony from the victims. All of them say the environment was intimidating even for the investigators themselves.
Men hebi do seda yagal yimbe mo anduda kambe woni yimbe mo anda be lappama don yimbe mo anduda kamɓe woni liggotoɓe ɗon e yimɓe mo annduɗa kamɓe woni e nder panel o bom ɓe wiidal e nder ɗon no wawno no hulɓini te noon woɓɓe dal ɓe heɓta ɓernde dal sitaɓe natti ɗon ɓe hulat.
They may be right because I was intimidated as an individual.
Why be ko be woni ko haalde ko gonga sabu min e hoore an tigi mi huluno.
In that environment, which you said was intimidating to you, do you think that on the basis of the legal knowledge you have, do you think that that environment was a suitable environment to interview a suspect and obtain a confession?
wayri an hoorema a yiri ɗula on noon no wayi noon ɗon no hulɓini walla e woɓɓe si ɓe natti ɗon ɓernde maɓɓe tenkata joni sikkuɗa ɗon noon no moƴƴi pour adda ɗon neɗɗo mo annduɗa ɓenin mbonin tuuma pour on lamdomo e nder on dula ha para on heɓa konngol e jungo makko sikkuɗa ɗum noon no yaadi e laawol no foti yaarde ni.
It may not be, but there was no other option, Council.
You know, we cannot fair go allowed on Council.
The issue I have with your answer is the use of the word may. It may not be, but we have no other choice. That's what you said.
No, I didn't say that, Council.
Repeat your answer then.
I said it may be, but we have no other choice.
Well, if it may be, it also may not be. But I'll take what you just said. Okay? It may be, but we have no other choice. This is no like borderline situation. It is either the environment was not a suitable environment for an interview because of the illegalities, or it was. It cannot be in between. I ask you the question again. In view of the intimidating and fearful environment which you also felt as an investigator, do you think, in view of your legal training, that it was a conducive environment to conduct an interview lawfully?
Joni ko ɗum woni e an hoorema e gandal mo heɓɗa e sengo loi sa ndaari ɗon kerol wawata ɗon wonde ko hunde wotere e wawata wonde ɗon nder suudu ndu no wawno ɗon wayri an hoorema wiiɗa e ɗon woɓɓe si ɓe natti ɗon ɓernde maɓɓe tenkata no hulɓini so joni sikkuɗa ɗon noon ko dula mo annduɗa no moƴƴi pour ɓe lamda neɗɗo walla ɓe adda ɗon neɗɗo ɓe waɗa mo interview walla ɓe lamdomo pour heɓon konngol e jungo makko wayri onon hay won onon wonɓe nder ɗon an hoorema wiiɗa ɗon dal e o welananima no piiji ɗin woniri ɗon sikkuɗa ɗon no moƴƴi no yaadi e laawol.
Legally, no.
Si andari e sango luwa on ko gonga ɗon yaadani.
Therefore, flowing from what you have said, any interview conducted in such an environment
It could be good ground for involuntary.
I
said it could be good ground for involuntary confession.
And by involuntary confession, you mean a confession that is illegally obtained?
On non wawno ko firti ko ɗum woni si haala heɓama ɗon e jungo neɗɗo on haala wawa wonde wona haala mo annduɗa no laaɓi walla yaadani e laawol.
It was not voluntary.
If
it is not voluntary, then it is illegally obtained.
Sita non wana hala mo anduda jom on hore makko ko weltare wadi haali dum awa joni sita men laari don woto ko hala mo anduda yaadani e lawol.
If that's your deduction, I agree.
We are talking about law here. It's not about my own perception. Confession has to be voluntary. If it is not voluntary, it is illegal. Do you agree with that?
Hala sinado no okiri hala o foti wonde hala ko weli jom o no welimo mbo haliranin kono non sita ko lawol goddo banga lawol mo anduda jom on no hulbina ha o haali hala laaji e ko don men wiyatani awa on hala no wanu dal wawata wonde hala mo anduda no tiidi no dari ha tiidi.
If it is not voluntary, it is involuntary, and it could be set aside when it is interpreted somewhere.
Are you avoiding to say the word illegal?
No, I know that aparani halde hunde manuda ya Danielua.
The law says a confession should be obtained voluntarily. If it is not obtained voluntarily, that confession is illegally obtained and therefore should be set aside. That is the law. Do you agree with that? Don't interpret this.
I don't contest law. If that is the law, that is the law.
It is not a question of if. Do you agree that that is the law?
Council, I think I don't disagree from this.
Okay, just say it then. Just say it then. If you
I said involuntary. If it is involuntary, obviously it has some issues, and that's what I said. If it is involuntary, it could be set aside. So illegally, when it is illegal too, I wouldn't contest that, because that's what you said is law.
So you agree that if it is not voluntarily given, it is illegally obtained. You agree with that?
Yes, Council.
Was this known to the panel that what they were doing was obtaining illegal confessions?
Joni yimbe wombe nder panel o kambe hore mabbe be andununa di halalaji ko be hebata be nder juude be yimbe yadani e lawol.
I cannot remember telling any of the statement writers that these were illegally obtained. I didn't tell them anything like that. Because I was the head of the police panel, investigators, so obviously that directive possibly may come from me or the other person else, but I didn't tell them not to obtain statements.
Mi wawata manitare wondama mi halani do windo no wi jettobe gi haalaji mabbe ne wigol be wondama haalaji mabbe ne be woni jettuye jondirde din diyadani e loi on mi wawata man min no wononno ton police be ko min jon forno jondirde ni yamiroji be windobe ben ko min forno be jondirde kono mi manitaaki dum don.
My question was not meant to elicit that answer. My question was it known to the members of the panel that there were these illegalities ongoing? There was this environment which made it such that confessions that were obtained would be lawfully obtained, be unlawfully obtained.
Ender panel o woɓɓe wonɓe on haala mo ɓe ɓangi juuɗe maɓɓe wayri dula on hulɓina so ɗon noon wawa wonde ko loi o wi on sifa haala ɓe foti ɗum wallinde sengo.
I am so with the police panelists, they should know. The rest, their appreciation may be different.
So holy wonder menen songa me involve ka police ben hibe andi kambe kono non e sengo be dango mi anda ben non e sengo mabbe ko hasibe farming de loi ko hondu haalere e fi dum do kono menen sengo amen menen andi.
So you're telling the commission that you, the police officers in the panel, you are sure that what was going on was unlawful and the statements obtained would have been, the confessions obtained would have been unlawfully obtained. That's so what you said, right?
Joni ko wiida ko haalanda commission o ko dum woni onon sengo polisaɓe onon oɗon andi o no yarata ni haala ko ɓe ɓagata e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe wayri ɓe ɗo ndula on no hulɓini haala ka wawata wonde haala mo anduɗa o darat no wawno dal ko ɗum haalanta commission oɗo darde ni onon sengo o polisaɓe on anduno ɗum.
We knew statements obtained under any form of duress would have issues when it gets to the courts. That we know. That was the status quo, and we have to go by what the realities were.
Te kan hala ka hebuda e jungo on neddo tuumaɗo ko wattu mo ƴettenoɗa on haala makko e jungo makko hari mo koye ɓitte ƴettuɗamo kan haala si o yeehi ka suudu ñawore kan ɗon ka haala ka tegete sengo.
Well, it's the status quo that we're trying to find out. We're trying to establish what the status quo was. So you accept that the police component of the investigations, you knew that there were these illegalities going on, and you knew that those statements, those confessions that were obtained during these illegalities are tainted, and therefore they were illegally obtained. You knew that, correct?
So joni no wawno an hoorema sengo police on andi haala ko ɓe ɓangi juuɗe ɓe yimɓe wayri gonga wona wona haalaji manduɗa ko ɓe yimɓe tigi welti ha ɓe haali ɗin haalaji kono noon no ɓe okkiri haalaji ɗin on dulaɗo ɓe woni ɗon no wawno dal ɓenin hulɓini ɓenin huli te noon wona dal belde maɓɓe pour ɓe haala ɗon noon no wawno haala ko ɓe ɓangi juuɗe maɓɓe ɗon on haala wawata darade wawata wonde haala mo anduɗa goɗɗo yadade eno haala.
I knew those statements could be subjected to some rejection somewhere.
Nandi wonde maɗin haalaji goɗɗi e majji ton so mi yehi dulaji go ɓe salotadi ɓe wawataɗi bokkinde ka kandre haala.
But again, that is not the question I asked. Whether the statements would be subjected to some rejection somewhere. That is not the question. The question is, you said earlier that the police knew that due to these illegalities, the confessions were unlawfully obtained.
Wayri no ɓe lamdiri ɓe yimɓe e nder jama ɗo ɓe woni ɗon e nder suudu ndu no wayi wayri ɗon no hulɓini kala haala ko ɓe ɓangi e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe ɗon wayri tuma ɓe ɓangata haala ka yaadani e laawol par ce que ɓe yimɓe no huli on tuma so joni ko ɗum woni ɗin haalaji wawata wonde haala mo anduɗa darat e sengo loi.
Yes, I said they were obtained under duress, which is right. That's what I said.
Mi haali ɗum haalaji maɓɓe ɗen koye nder ɓitte haalaji maɓɓe ɗin ƴetta ɗum ɗo mi haali ɗum ɗon no dari.
And the police, you said, knew that.
Tenon a wiɗa police sengo police kamɓe ɓe andino ɗum.
Council, that was obvious. The police knew.
Ɗum ɗon kayno laaɓi council.
Good. The information we received from other members of the panel is also that they knew. But let me ask this question. As the police in the panel responsible for taking statements and so forth, did you advise the panel that what they were doing was unlawful?
Wayri police aɓe wonɓe e nder panel on kamɓe hiɓe andi so joni on waɗani feere pour on okka yamirore pour ɓeɗo pour kamɓe kala ɓe anda gonga ligge komin ligge ɗen komin no min mbaɗirta ɗum ni yaɗani e lawol ho on yamira on okkani ɗum on yamirore.
They are not council. I didn't.
Ala council ɗum ɗon mi waɗani.
You did not. That's what you said.
Well, I didn't.
But you knew that this thing was ongoing, it was illegal. You just decided to go along with it, correct?
Joni no wawno dal onon police aɓe on andi ko watte ni wona lawol wona ni be pijidin foti yarude on andi dum kono on yerni on acci e haaju on ko non continue.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
And do you realize that by doing that, you have really failed to do what you are supposed to have done as a police officer?
Edo dum non wairi konon haaju on yari. Awa joni onon on wadani ligge mo anduda ko dum on fotno wadde e sengo police no be foti wadirde sita e halaka yari non no dal on wadani kon fotno wadde on darde nde wonno don.
What I was doing at the time was what I could have done. The only thing I could have done.
What I know on jamanu ko dum tam wawno wadde on wattu don.
We would come to that later. The question is, by not doing anything about it, you have failed to do what you were expected or required to do by law as a police officer.
Awa joni on acci lawol mo anduda ko on lawol on fotno bangde walla on wadani ligge mo anduda ko non on fotno wadde on acci ligge den no fotno do yarude sengo police abe joni police on ko be fotno wadde joni awa no wano be wadani ligge mabbe.
I don't want to agree with that. I thought I of the view that what we did in getting their statements, regardless of the fact that it was on a bad environment, was to try to help them out to get the truth from them and then state it as they stated it, even though it may not be voluntary, out of inducement.
That
was why.
Are you really serious, Mr. Witness? Are you really serious with that answer?
Onde ko halda ko non gonga ko dum won e berdema.
If we think here that you are not speaking the truth, if we think so, and we take you out and beat you to help you speak the truth, would that be lawful?
Joni no ko kawonda don sita a hali minen wombe do men sikku e wona gonga halta ni joni wobbe yana e dow ma be nanga ma be naba ma yasi be lippoyama sikkula dun non no yadi e lawol.
No ala.
Why would you therefore think that what you did was okay because you just helped them to speak the truth?
Joni way ko dum hodum wadi non wiida e ko waddon kon tana ala hen wayri kon walloy no ben rek pour be wawa halde ko gonga ko be fotno halde.
I'm not sure whether your scenario is what had happened to everybody who came before the panel.
No, we just looking at what you said.
And Johnny kai komen lara rek an ko halda ko dum men lara tani joni.
You said yes, there was some jurors, but all we did was we just helped them speak the truth, regardless of the things that may have happened.
Mila gonga don dey ko hulbini no don kono non minen ko men walluno dumen rek pour be wawa halde ko be foti halde ko pour men bawa hebde din halaji e juude mabbe.
Wasn't it that you said?
Wona ko dum halloda.
Yes or no?
Yes, that's what I said.
But this is what I'm saying, that this is very sad.
That's ko dum wiatani dum no yurmini ha.
To come from a senior police officer.
There
was duress, there is torture, and you said it was okay, all we did was help them state the truth that they were going to say. That is serious. That is a fundamental violation of the Constitution of this country. Are you aware of that?
Be nanguno dumen be lippi dumen kono non wiida ko onon ko on wallayno ben rek pour on heba haala e juude mabbe dum non gonga ko dum sikkuda ko dum woni lawol ko dum woni lawol ko dum yadi e lawol.
I think, Council, sometimes you will go around my statement and construct a sentence as if though that's what I said.
Council, and what would you go?
I'm serious because I have never said that what has happened was lawful. No, I didn't say that. But I said the conditions under which we were operating. That's what I said.
Don't interpret this. Let's go. Mr. Witness, I just told you what you said. You said you agreed, that's what you said. I told you that is very sad. What you said is a fundamental violation of the constitutional rights of those people.
You continue to say some other things too. That is why I'm reacting. But what I confirm to have said, yes, I did say that.
Okay, let's put it back this way. You said, yes, there was duress, okay, and other things have happened. But all we did was to help them to say the truth that they were going to say anyway. That's what you said. True or false?
Yes, that's what I said.
I'm telling you again, the third time, it's like you completely disregard the provisions of the Constitution. There should be no duress. There should be no torture. So to say that it is okay, we just help them to confess, that is very sad. And it is this mindset, the fact that you can just sit here and say, we just help them to make the confession, which suggests that to you, this was okay. But it is not okay.
I wish this was the opportunity we had at that time. It would have been a different thing.
No, but even now, even now, Mr. Witness, you see it as okay.
No,
all you did was help them to make the confession. So you torture them, and then you just help them to make the confession, and it's fine. But if that is what had happened to you, it would not be fine, would it?
I never said it's fine. I never said the tortures were fine, Council. I didn't say that. And that is why I said sometimes you go around my sentence and create a sentence and give the impression that that's what I said. Oh, I didn't say that their beating, their tortures was right. I didn't say that. But I said that what cannot be held, you have to enjoy it. That's what the reality was.
But that is what I don't agree with.
Well, that was the reality. Whether you agree or not, that is for the Council to take it. That was the reality.
Mr. Witness, you're huffing and puffing at the same time. You say something, you accept that you said it, then you turn around and you say you did not say it. But I would leave that issue and I'll move on. Do you think that what happened was right?
Sikula ko wadano don no yadi elawol.
Whether what happened was right? No, that cannot be right.
Are you proud of it as a police officer?
No, I cannot be proud of that, Council.
Are you disappointed with all of you?
I would not call it disappointed. I wouldn't call it that. It was wrong, yes, but then the circumstances were such that what do you do? If there was an option, yes. But if no option, you do what is the possibilities around.
Mr. Witness, you sit here, you said you saw the illegalities going on. You would not even tell your colleagues that this was illegal.
Yes, I wouldn't tell them. That does not make.
But isn't that a failure of your duty? You are a police officer. A violation of a right is here happening right in front of you.
Parce que ansa woni police ado yiya goddo no yakka loi e yeso ma acca dum non.
It was criminal.
It could be a failure, Council.
No, tell us. You tell the commission. It was a failure. You tell the commission. It's not for me to take it as anything. You tell the commission. You failed in your duties.
I had no choice.
But you failed.
If I failed, I had no choice.
But do you first agree that you have failed?
kono a foti a jaɓina gonga liggam ayani ko fotno ɗon wadde on waɗani ɗum ayani.
I agree that there was a responsibility that I have that I could have done, but I didn't do it, which was as a result of the circumstances.
Mi jaɓi wondema ko dongal mi joggino ko mi ko ligge ko mi fonno wadde kono mi waɗara no fewi no kono sa yi mi waɗira noon kadi kono affaire on walorno noon ko ɗum taki.
And that is failure on your part to do what you are professionally obliged to do.
ɗum noon no wawno dal on yani wayri on waɗani ko on fotno wadde ko ligge mon o ko holliri no o foti wadde wayri on waɗani ɗum no wawno dal on yani.
I will still say yes, but qualified by the circumstances.
Ha joni wiye kono ha joni mi nandirlay ɗum affaire on mi no walorno.
What were the circumstances?
Ko hoɗum woni dalilaji ɗin.
Well, except if you want me to repeat myself, I said the characters within that environment, the environment was tense, intimidating, fearful. So what else? Those were the circumstances.
Well, dan mi rewto sabu mi haali no do bawo ko woni no affaire on walor non no golle do walor non suru no wonir non kañum ma yimbe wada nata yalta on ko dum tam wiima ko dum nabir non affaire.
You were not to give a statement. You were not the person being investigated. Okay? What were the circumstances that compelled you to close your eyes to these illegalities that were ongoing?
Wana an foti okude halaji manuda wobbe banga dum wana an be lamdoto kono non ko holum wadi ha joni a jabani larde awbi gite maden sengo piiji manduda din yaadani e lawol manduda dum no woni e der ligge ko baddon don ko holum wadi dum.
Well, counsel, you led me to say that the situation was tense, it was fearful, it was intimidating. So, and that is to everybody. That was what we were discussing here. So, if you are trying to get me out of that now, and you want me to say something different.
No. You were, in fact, could we listen to one another? You were, in fact, avoiding saying that was to everybody. But you have accepted that now. We're very happy that you have done so. But the question is, for you, apart from the existence of these characters around, what was it that compelled you to saw the illegalities and you just closed your eyes to them as if they did not exist?
What
was it?
There was no exceptional circumstance apart from what the realities were on the ground. In that venue. That was the same only circumstance.
I don't understand. There were no exceptional circumstances
outside,
except the realities on the ground.
Outside what obtains in that room.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, the room is what was the determiner.
Yes.
So
what was it? What was it that compelled you to close your eyes to what was happening?
Hodum non wadi ubula gitama den alarani piiji no woniri e der sudundu ko watte on ko dum wadi dum.
Closing eyes in trying to draw the attention was like you never know what the repercussion would be, so you don't venture. You need to be sensitive to your own security.
Farming kino andan ko e gon don ko afero no walor non sabu anti gisawi a wada dum ko arota ko baaw ma ngade anda ko hondo yoyta horema.
Did you members of the panel discuss it?
Onon wome e der panel o on yewtuno dum na.
Discuss what? Like to see
the situation that obtained within the panel.
I think council anyway. If my memory serves me right, we've gone past that. Do you want to come back again?
Just answer the question.
We've all felt intimidated.
Thank you for accepting that, even though it's 2 hours late. But the question is, did you discuss what was going on at the panel that these were illegality?
Yes, we discussed myself. I had right. I'm sorry.
And did you decide to just go along with the situation?
So Johnny on lari dal do day fadu men yada eko watte ni rek men yada edum.
There was no suggestion of going otherwise. It was just a matter of expressing what you feeling it was, but not to think otherwise.
So by continuing and by going along, you have accepted to participate in an unlawful enterprise.
Where on jabi pur on yada e haju on no wuri don. On jabi e piji din no walori don. Awa joni e no wawno dal onon kala on jabi pur on wada haju fi goddum manuda yada ni lawol.
Enterprise, I don't understand, but what I know is...
Okay, call it engagement.
Well,
an unlawful engagement. You carried out an unlawful activity, which was obtaining confessions from people under circumstances which render it illegal.
No, rek man wawa vide pour bangol kongol juude yimbe manduda no bangiri din halaje juude mabbe yadani e lawol. So joni ko dum men haltani don non sita jabi ko non wonirina.
Like I said earlier, this was also mentioned. I will repeat it again because we said anything that has to do with law, if it was lawful or unlawful, I cannot contest that. I said it.
Kala ko adana ma wadi bade dan na ma wanda ma yadan e lawol te luwa jaban dum mi imporondirta dum don.
Why don't you just answer the question, yes or no?
Abawa widerek ha wala hani.
I think I need to explain so that you also will not be a matter of you making the statement and I saying yes to it. It is me who is making the statement, Counsel.
Mr. Witness, this is the art of cross-examination. The cross-examiner puts the proposition for the witness to adopt.
Yeah, but cross-examiner does not make statements.
Oh, is that so?
Well, you don't need to make my statement. I am here. That this is not, even if you are cross-examining me, Counsel, I think you also need to appreciate the fact that I am the one who is testifying.
Oh, Mr. Witness, okay, let's not argue over these things. Please, just answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Right?
Jalani men pot ondira. Joni non what affaire jabora ko mi lamdi mako.
Don't interpret this. It's just a repetition. I have to break down the questions, takes the baby steps and arrive.
Okay.
You knew the illegalities were going on, correct? Correct? Answer.
The illegalities on statement record, is that what you say?
The tortures, the duress, the intimidating and fearful environment, you know that was existing.
Yes, Counsel.
And you knew that under such circumstances, to obtain a confession would be unlawful, correct?
Yes.
You closed your eyes to all those facts, correct?
Yes.
You went along and took the statements, correct?
Yes.
Knowing fully well that the circumstances were not the ones under which a statement could lawfully be taken, correct?
Yes.
So, in effect, you agree, therefore, that you participated in an exercise that was unlawful, correct?
No, I wouldn't agree that I participated because in an unlawful exercise as you portray it.
But are you allowed by law to obtain a confession unlawfully? Are you allowed to do that by law?
Counsel, law, if you will allow me, I think law becomes law depending on the government in place.
Are you serious?
That's because the thing is, these laws we are talking about, we are the same laws that obtains in the 22 years rule. So if we were there and people at that time, I felt, you know, I said the environment. Environment has warranted me.
I am confused.
No.
I don't understand what you are saying.
Let me just rephrase what I wanted to say then.
Law becomes law, what?
I said law becomes law depending on who is governing. That's what it is, even though it's written. But the application makes the law what it should be. We've seen that happen. Because there is nothing wrong with the laws. There has not been any changes in the law. But we were constrained.
Mr. Witness,
we were constrained.
Why don't you just answer the questions?
Instead of going on
the tangent and muddying the waters, just answer the question. You knew fully well that all this was illegal. You knew it. You have answered yes to that. You knew it. Yet you decided to go ahead with it. Didn't you? Yes. Fine. Thank you. You decided to keep quiet about the whole thing, and as a result you came up with a report which was the basis of the prosecution of the accused persons. Correct? Would you respond now?
Yes.
Hey, counsel.
And these people were prosecuted on the basis of your reports. Correct?
I think it's on the basis of their statements, because the report was just a summary of what was obtained.
The report is the compendium of all the materials that you have gathered, including the evidence. So that was the basis of the prosecution. It's not just their statements. But what you said makes it even worse. They were prosecuted on the basis of statements that you knew were illegally obtained.
Very well, that is the content of the report. I'm not saying something outside the norm. The report is a summary of the statement. So that illegality you talk about is the same process.
Report on, don't go on report on.
I can state there was nothing introduced in that report that is not contained in the file. Nothing. Even though it was illegally obtained, like we all agreed, but that was the fact. We summarized the statements, and then individual responsibilities was. And if you have the report, you can go through it and see. You don't see anything outside what is in the file.
I honestly don't know what you're talking about. But I'll just go back to my line of questioning. You knew that the report or the statements were illegally obtained. Correct?
Yes, they were obtained under an environment that is not conducive and under duress.
As a police officer,
police,
do you accept or do you believe that people should be prosecuted on the basis of illegally obtained evidence?
That
should not be fair.
And you know that scheme, the whole arrangement, the way it was structured and the way it was done, it was all aimed at obtaining confessions willy-nilly in order to produce results that Yaya Jammeh wanted.
Non tigi don andi din labi no wadi don non pour jetton kongudi be don din ko pour do wadon mo rek do andu dane to Yaya Jammeh yida e mo no wadi do mo no.
That's the truth, isn't it?
Ko dum woni gonga on ndax wana dum.
That's not the way I perceive it.
Mi wana no miiri dum de.
Okay. Who sent in the junglers?
O manili jungula ben.
I have no idea, Council.
Mr. Witness, this is now notorious fact. It is known by everybody that the junglers came from State House. No matter how you pretend, everybody knows this. Is it true or false? That the junglers came from State House?
I came to know that, yes.
But you knew that Martin came from State House?
I knew Martin was part of the State Guards, yeah.
You knew Tumbul Tamba came from State House?
Yes.
The reason why you were fearful was, in fact, because you had these so-called characters all from State House overseeing and looking what you guys were doing.
Among other things, yes.
In fact, you knew that those people were sent there to see what you guys were doing and were constantly reporting back to Yaya Jammeh. Isn't that true?
It's a possibility, because this has to do with toppling of a government, so I'm sure he would be interested. It's a possibility.
But you all knew he was interested.
I cannot dispute that.
Yes, and in fact, that is the reason why he said that they would send GRTS to air the confessions publicly. Isn't that true?
Issue of GRTS.
Isn't that true?
I know GRTS came there because I saw them, but how they came, I don't know, and I don't have any interaction with the GRTS. Not the least, not a single day that I saw even a staff of GRTS, me. That applies to most panel members.
Doesn't that in fact show that they were sent there by a higher authority?
I cannot contest that. That may be true.
Exactly. So all this put together just shows that Yaya Jammeh's presence and his visits loomed large.
Oui, dum fo hollitere ne Yaya Jammeh pour andingol yimbe ben fo ne kanko e mo wodi fo yimbe ben fo yi dum
in the minds of the panelists and dictated what they would do or what they would not do.
Dum fo wona e hakkilaji yimbe be anduda ko ben joddina e on panel pour be fo be anda ko yidi kon.
You all knew what Yaya Jammeh wanted.
Onon fo andi no ko yinno kon.
I think, to be realistic, this is not about what Yaya Jammeh wanted from the start, because this is about people wanting to topple him. So, obviously, whatever happens later, if he's interested, I didn't know about the coming of the GRTS. I was, not me alone, in fact, most of us were in that room.
And can you answer the question asked? All of you knew what Yaya Jammeh wanted. He wanted confessions by the suspected coupist.
That may be known by the people he sent, because I've never talked to, or neither somebody talked to me about what Yaya Jammeh said. And I was not dealing with these suspects in that light.
Okay. All right. You agree that the men in black, do you agree that they came from State House? And these were the people who were beating the suspects?
I believe so, yes.
You answer now?
I said I believe so. Yes.
Right. And doesn't that show that they were beaten so that they would come and confess to the allegations?
Council, I cannot confirm that. I know. I cannot confirm that. Because that instruction was not given to me, and they didn't tell me what they were there for. But whatever they were doing, if it is instruction from...
Well, Mr. Witness, play it no matter how you want. You said these people were tortured and brought before you guys and they made confession.
So
obviously those tortures would have been mainly to extract confessions. Would you agree with that?
I cannot disagree with that.
Exactly. So he sent the soldiers. They came and tortured these people. Those people were brought before you and they made confessions. Don't you see that you have done what Yaya Jammeh wanted?
I will not see it that way too, still.
And how would you see it?
Whether I've done what Yaya Jammeh wanted, I'm not sure.
By recording the confessions.
Well, unfortunately, this...
just hear me out. He ensured you guys recorded the confessions. And he sent in GRTS. They broadcasted this confession. As if these confessions were genuinely obtained. Isn't that what happened?
Well, they were displayed on GRTS.
And those confessions were written down by you?
By the police, yes.
So don't you see that Yaya Jammeh has got what he wanted?
Probably, that's a possibility. You know, but the line, don't
dilute the truth.
No. But you just understand that
possibility, that is what was desired.
The line of communication, you must also know that not everybody is privy to talking to Yaya Jammeh. I've never spoken to Yaya
Jammeh. Did he have to talk to you for you to know exactly what was going on? You were even scared to raise an objection. Were you just scared of men in uniform, or were you scared of the authority behind them?
It's not the uniform. That's uniform.
So what was it?
It's the authority behind it.
And who was that authority?
Because the leadership was Yaya Jammeh.
Exactly, precisely the point.
Yes, with that one, yes. But if you want to make it look in a way, I would not be able to answer it that way. But I know that my fears, if I was fearful of anything, it's not the uniform, because I'm a uniform officer. I see uniform people every day. So that is not the uniform that was intimidating. It was the characters there, the different people who come from different areas, and you never know what they are up to. So that was the cause of concern.
Okay. Put it to us in very, very simple terms. So that a primary 3 child sitting at home would understand what was going on. They too need to know what happened. You guys did what Yaya Jammeh wanted. Obtain confessions from these people, from these suspects. It was broadcast to the whole country for everybody to believe that this was the truth. When those confessions were obtained by torture, duress, intimidation, and what have you. Would you agree that that's the truth?
The truth, council, is these people were brought, And their conditions of appearance suggest they were tortured.
And they were
interrogated, interviewed, and statements obtained from them. And these statements were summarized and a report written and sent to the AG's chambers.
That
was the instruction. That's what we've done.
Well, with a witness, you have gone back to the person you were in the morning, and you sanitized and window dressed the issue.
Jone ala rutike bawo hida fitta lawi din pour wawa hebude ko falda kon.
You have gone back, you have sanitized and window dressed the issue.
Afiti aborni mo wutte mo andudane ko labintinado.
Let's take it sentence by sentence.
Joni ettire mo koyngal par koyngal.
Kongol e kongol.
They were brought in
addano
in circumstances that suggest
do alhala mo anduno dane hollitirayne
they were tortured.
Piano.
They were brought before us, they were interrogated.
Be addano yeso mon landi dombe.
Statements taken.
Bindu don kongo di mabbe din.
These statements were summarized.
Kongo di mabbe din rabbindinano.
A report made.
Bindu don report
and sent to AG chambers.
What dom nabudom mo AG chambers.
This is better than Photoshop.
Dundo no buri Photoshop mo yude.
It's been stripped of all the vestiges of illegality.
Wini dundon fo itama kala ko anduda yadani e loi on sedi mo fo itti mo hen.
And packaged to look nice.
What dom mo packet ha laba.
That is not what happened.
Wona dum wadi de.
This my statement is in response to the issue of saying Yaya Jammeh said this. This is what whatever I said is in record. So there is nothing I would say now that can change what
well, you just tried. You just failed.
No. I don't think there is an issue of trying and failing. What trials and failures are you talking about?
Okay, let's dissect it. They were tortured and brought before you, correct? That's what you said before.
As a record counsel, yes.
You agree with that? Good. And they were interviewed in environment that was intimidating. Correct?
Yes.
That bit you skipped in your summary. And when the statements were written, they were written with the full knowledge by those who were taking the statements that this was illegal.
Correct? Statement ji mabbe de wala kongo di mabbe de onon tigi on andi ne no kongo di din jetirano no woyadani e lawol.
Correct? Yes. And when you guys put together to report, you knew that this was not an honest report.
Onon tigi de winda no do report
about what has happened in those panels. In that panel. You knew that. It was not an honest, bona fide report about what has happened.
Wona report mo andudane himo yadi e lawol no windirdo mo no wona non.
You agree?
To the extent that what they said was exactly that was summarized.
No. Well, if you force me to say that this pillar is God, and I say it, and you submit that report, that is what I have said.
And then but what
would change the character is the fact that I was forced. If you omit to say that I was forced, the report becomes something completely different.
Sa windani nek a forsam pour mi hala dum andi report on yara no yari no be wiene ko gonga ko min hali ko jonnitir da ka report.
You see, there was this culture of faking reports in the NIA, isn't it?
Ada wonno ka NIA andudane on wada on winda report jidi anduda wona non no di windira non wona non di yari,
which is used to prosecute people.
Non ko dum don be rewata e gol don on report be ya be nyaawa yimbe be.
Isn't that true?
Won dum da dum wona gonga.
You want me to answer that, counsel?
Yes.
I did that.
No, I am not saying that you did.
At that time,
I am saying that there was a culture of producing reports that were not 100% truthful.
Woni no ada NIA be andudane be winda ene report ji di andudane yadani e lawol ngol andudane ko non report ji dim fonno yaro
contained false information.
Kongudi wona di don dim fo di anduda haray fo ko fenande wonata go
which was used as a basis to prosecute people.
Tet ko e ding report ji be rewayno be nyaawa yimbe be
or the evidence fabricated. This was the norm.
I cannot confirm.
Seedeyaji di anduda no e report on ko dum don be rewayno be nyaawa be yimbe be anduda ko fawabe ko anduda ne yadani e lawol.
I
honestly, weren't you prosecuted on the basis of false information?
Ndax ang be nyaawani ma e dow report mo anduda ne ko be fawma ko wadani dum.
That was not from the NIA. If there was any false information, and
didn't part of it come from the NIA?
Ndax report on Sengo Wotongo wona NIA.
Is that the one you are asking or general? Because council, you need to be, you have to guide me and guide me right. Because if you are now telling me to confirm,
I can't tell you.
You have to guide me right.
I can't tell you that I have 20-something years of experience of doing.
That is not my issue. That is not my problem.
I am guiding you right.
No, you are not guiding me right. If you want me to attest to statements or reports at the NIA when I was not there.
Have you ever prosecuted a case? Have you ever appeared in court and prosecuted a case?
We'll come to that. If that is
have you ever done so?
Yes.
Hey.
Which one?
It's against me.
Oh my God. Can you prosecute a case against yourself?
I have prosecuted. No. I don't prosecute. At the NIA, we don't have prosecutors.
The question was, have you ever prosecuted a case?
I didn't get
so
that
you have zero experience prosecuting a case?
Ala experience.
You want to tell me how to question or guide witnesses?
Let's proceed. I cannot match you, but I have been prosecuting cases when I was with the police.
Let's proceed. Let's proceed. Let's not go into these things.
Well,
let's not go into these things.
But I will request that you ask me questions that I have answers for.
No, I will not do that.
No. If
I will ask questions.
Asking me about NIA making statements or reports that are when I don't have an idea about that, and you want me to answer, then that means you are trying to make me look very difficult when you are the one who is provoking it. Counsel, with due respect. I think we just.
I will just put that aside. Please. As if you did not say it.
Johnny, Johnny,
I'll just put it aside as if you did not say it. What you people did was an illegal fabrication.
Except if the coup d'etat was fake. It was a creation. Yes. The tortures, I know there is no way anybody can justify.
But you are here justifying it.
No.
I am telling you that what you guys have did can only be described as an illegal fabrication.
No, mina hala mina wa ma hala de onon ko wadon kon fo ko andudane ko kongudi di anduda ko fewna di tundi yadani e loi.
All of you were complicit in covering up a state-sponsored torture.
Onon fo o ko e dow ballal ngal andunane on walli laamu wonnodo do on pour wawa yimbe piide yimbe ben ko anduda yadani e lawol.
And you came up with a report with the cover of proprietary when it was all wrong.
Ardudon e report mo andudane ko fewnado kala nando mo walla yi mo sikayne ko hal don ko gonga.
It was tainted completely by illegality.
Non fo ko anduda ko muri mo kon fo yadane e loi.
Do you agree with that?
Ndaha jabidu.
Where the law speaks, I don't disagree.
And because of your conduct, before that, I had asked you this question before, that you knew these trials were going on, and none of you had the courage to say that these confessions, which were going to be the basis of these convictions, were illegally obtained.
Ono andi no nde nyawore no yaha. Te hay goto e mo wawani hebude nde berne pour yaltude halane be di kongudi di be jonnudo ni non wonano yari.
Yes, and my response was, I don't have any right to go to any court to insist on making myself fat. And I don't even have the mind. If there was that possibility, I would not even have the guts to go and do that. Why? Answer is obvious.
Mr. Witness, you recall you were prosecuted. You were prosecuted, correct?
Yes.
Hey. And the person, one of the supposed star witnesses of the prosecution, what happened with him? Can you tell the commission?
He was arrested and charged for perjury.
I'm not coming to that. Let's come to what happened at the time of your prosecution.
Mimi arane dum donde joni waden daro den ko anduda e der nyaawore ma den ko wanno ko.
About what? About his testimony? Well,
yes.
When you say what happened, that's why I answered this.
What happened during your trial?
Joni ko honno wadi e der
When
nyaawore
he
ma
was called as a witness, what happened?
Be noddu no mone pour o daro wona sede e dow nyaawore ma de.
Testified.
What you know said gangal makongal?
He said he has no idea about what was written in that statement of his.
But then this was his statement,
According to him, no.
Mr. Witness, he said that he was bribed and made to say that statement, but the statement was not true. He refused to incriminate you because he does not possess the facts that are contained in the statement. And that he was bribed by the DPP to give the false statement against you. Isn't that what happened?
I think you are missing the facts.
Before all that, Counsel, can you give us a bit of context of this trial?
What happened?
Because it just came on, and the two of you seem to be the ones who know.
Yes, what happened was he was charged for
abuse of office
and taking money.
Yeah, corruption kind of.
Is it official corruption? I don't know exactly what the charges are, but for taking money from one so-called Christopher Baji. And a star witness was supposed to be the person who should come and testify against him. The DPP made arrangements with the witness and got an incriminating statement. The witness came to court and said, I did not make this statement. They tried to bribe me to make this statement. I refuse. And he was acquitted. Isn't that what happened?
Yes, but the facts I want to correct.
Okay, correct the facts.
Yes, the statement, according to him, was written during the time of investigation at the agency.
Yes.
And he traveled out and he was made to come back. When he came, the DPP called him, according to him, that you have, this is a statement, this is the only statement that can put this guy in trouble. We will want you to go and testify, and there is a package for you. Nothing was given to him.
250,000?
280,000. All right, there is a package for you. If you testified against this man, then you come and get your money. So he went, he told them, okay, agreed, we went, and after taking the oath, he said what he knew, because he said he would not say anything to incriminate when it was not true. So,
and didn't he say that the prosecution attempted to bribe him?
Okay.
So we agree with that. Correct?
Yes.
So
the DPP, that's what he told, because he was later arrested and charged for perjury. And we were all going to the same vehicles, the same mile two together. Then he'd confer with us to say this was what happened. He was offered 280,000 by the DPP, and this was in the office of the DPP, Chenyan, to go and say anything against me. But his conscience would not allow him.
Exactly. His what? Say
his conscience
would not
allow him, because he said he would not take oath and then go and lie. Exactly. That's what he said.
Exactly. This is a person who chose, if what he did was true, he chose to act honorably, isn't it? Against all risks against the state.
This was not a matter of risk against the state.
It was.
No.
This is a man who was going to accuse the DPP of bribery. And you were a senior officer who was interdicted at the time. The state was prosecuting you. Isn't it?
Yeah, what I would still say.
Exactly. So this guy chose to act according to his conscience because he saw what was happening was illegal. Isn't it?
Kanko o jabi rewde lawol ngol anduda ne ko ngol don lawol o foti rewde te kadi o yiine bayri ko neddo mo anduda neddo pewal o jabani ma nanude.
Isn't it?
That's what he said, yes.
And you were happy.
I was not sad when I was in mile 2.
My friend, tell us the truth. You were happy, you were excited. You were going to be released because of the intervention of this person who chose to act honorably.
For me, my issues.
Just answer the question.
No, this is not a
just answer the question.
No, I will not answer.
You were happy.
Not the way you want me to answer. With this one, this is not a matter that is relevant here.
Even if you choose not to answer, the record would speak for itself. The commission
it's not a matter for TRRC.
That's why I raised the question whether or not it is matter.
Even though I should say something, that is that, but because I was detained for 2 years.
Hold on a second. So the link with the 2006 panels is acting honorably by that individual, and he became
Mr.
beneficiary.
Chair, what I am trying to say is I am trying to draw parallels here.
Yeah, fine. That's the link I'm looking for.
Somebody was tasked to do the same violation against him that he had done against others. And this guy acted honorably for him, leading to his acquittal. How did he behave? How did he conduct himself? That's why the dilly-dallying, now he wouldn't answer the question.
That dilly-dallying I want.
I don't think, Council, this choice of words of yours against me, sometimes I don't like too. I must say this. Dilly-dallying for what? I was in mile 2 based on that statement for 22 months. For 20 months.
But some people were in mile 2 for years because you knew and never said any word that the reason why they were in mile 2, all those statements were bogus. And you sat there and kept quiet. You kept mum because you were not the one suffering it. And that is how it feels, Mr. Witness.
That is
honorably by showing that the basis of the detention, the incarceration of these people and sentenced to death, sentenced to life, sentenced to 25 years was because people like you refused to do what the law required you to do. That is what happened.
be sokibe ngir duubi mabbe dim fo wobe be duubi nogas e joy wobe be foto be warde ko wono onon be andoda ne on wadani ligge mon de on manki wadde ligge mon den no loi on haliri mon.
That is what happened.
Ko dum wadi.
So do you regret it?
Nda anim si dum.
There are regrets over this.
Yes.
Do you regret it? Do you regret what you guys have done?
I've regretted what had happened to all these people. And as far as
don't dilute the answer. Just answer me specifically on this particular issue, the work of the panel, this work you said you are not proud of. Do you regret what you guys have done?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's the honorable thing to do. What would you say to those people who were sentenced to life imprisonment or sentenced to death, sentenced to 25 years or God knows how many years imprisonment. By reason of these bogus reports you guys have produced, what would you say to them?
Well, I will tell them it's regrettable that what had happened to them, particularly in terms of their tortures and all that stuff. I feel very saddened. And my own side of my conduct, I would request for kind of forgiveness from them.
I have no further questions.
Mi ala hay goto landal ngal mi landoto makadi.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you again, Mr. Demba Sow, for your testimony.
Chairman, we ajarama Council, ajarama Mr. Demba Sow, SADA galmangal.
Commissioners, if you have any questions to ask, please indicate.
Joni ni himolandare commissiona be kala jogido landi pour landa gol SADA on hina way hollirde.
If there are no questions, Mr. Sow, if you have. Oh, you didn't indicate to Commissioner. Go ahead and do so now.
Witness. You said you sat there and you are helping the victims who have been tortured to
tell the truth.
For them to speak the truth.
Wida anga jodi no don pour walla be anduda be fawno be pour be fala libude lamu wonno do on pour wawa be wallude be hala gonga.
How can they speak the truth when you know they have been beaten mercilessly?
Oy honno be halita gonga te anga andine be ko piya be ha be fala be jogori mayle.
And you are fully aware.
Antigi andi dum.
And you are fully aware that
antigi hida andi dum ne.
It's because they have refused to say what the people want them to say.
Andine ko tahi dum ko sali halde ko anduda ko dum yimbe ben fala no be hala onon yimbe wonno be don ben.
Not necessarily the truth.
Wona gonga on.
Isn't that so?
Wona dum wonno.
I think, Chairman, I would want to withdraw this word help. In the context of where I put it. Because it will suggest that I'm condoning a certain thing. So, unfortunately, what I had wanted to convey is like, there was a need for us to come up with a report. And that report can only be informed by recording their statements, regardless of the fact that they were tortured. So, meaning some of them, based on that report, they were even recommended to be used in a different way or even released. Possibly the word help has given another meaning to what I had wanted to say. That was not meant to justify. What happened at the commission was, at the panel was right.
And this was a report based on statements that were coerced.
Yes.
Extorted, as the DG of NIA would say.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I don't have any problems with you using synonyms. Tensed. Anyway, any more questions? No. Mr. Sow, you may proceed now to make your concluding remarks if you have any.
Thank you, Chairman, and Mr. Alhamdulillah for
Chairman ajarama joni mina fala wide alhamdulillah
sitting before this honorable house.
Jodagol e dow o ndu suudu e yeso ndu yimbe ndu suudu anduda yimbe ben fo no wadi mo horma.
Given the opportunity to say what I know about the 2006 foil coup investigations.
Pour mi jonnitira ko mi andi kon ko yari e dow 2006 coup d'état mo anduda o falano wadde do kono Allah walli o wadani.
I wish to state that
mi fala halde dunne
whatever happened during that time
and der dun don e o don waktu,
as far as our panel was concerned,
kala ko anduda panel amen on wadino dum on tuma
had a lot of things to do with the circumstances that was at stake.
However, wadirno mo fo ko anduda kono alhali on panel on woni non no be darnirno mo non ko dun tahi dun yari non.
What had been meted to the suspect could not be justified by any other person.
Oyi kala ko waɗano ɓe ɗon ɓe annduɗa ɓe fawino ɓe ngol ɗon jamfa yaruɗo e dow laamu ngun hay goto wawatano mo andutude.
And I feel saddened and very remorseful.
O wi te mi nimsi ɗum te kadi ɗum ko wonani lan yurmede e mette ɓernde.
To be associated with things like this.
O wi pour ɓe wawa inde am nane e yimɓe ɓe annduɗa ko ɓen waɗi ɗum waddu.
For those who know me,
yimɓe anduɓe lamɓe
can attest to you as to who is Mr. Sow. Unfortunately, the system we had at the time was really a bit of a problem. That you, in most cases, would hesitate to say what your feelings are. And this, to an extent, had warranted a number of Gambians living in the source of the Gambia for fear of whatever they think could have happened to them. And the never again, to me, is very important. Gambia is our homeland, and we are all duty bound to protect the interest and integrity of the country. The security of Gambia is a matter for all of us. What I have noticed is that actively or passively, what had happened in the last 22 years had been a collective responsibility, in my view, for all those Gambians of the age of 18 and above. Unfortunately, Gambia, we all know it to be a smiling coast naturally. That is the truth. For it to turn to be something else different, if not for the hesitation of people to point out the facts, maybe it could not have gotten this far. As a security officer, and as somebody who forms part of the co-management of the Gambia Police Force, we are inclined to reforms. And key among what we are doing is to ensure officers are capacitized and knowledgeable in areas that forms the basics of investigations, in ensuring that people's rights are protected, of course without compromising security. So the leadership as we speak at the Gambia Police Force is bent on ensuring that we have the right wherewithals, the right logistical support or human resource base to do our job. However, as as a matter of concern, some of the rights need some amenities, particularly the infrastructural support. I'm saying this because if you want to, somebody commits a crime and he's to be detained and is a juvenile or a woman, you go to stations across the country, you will realize that the police force is constrained in some aspects. And since it's a demand and a constitutional responsibility that we protect people's rights, I think it's important that we all put hands together to support the reform structures or the reform activities. I also want to encourage Gambians to be law-abiding. I respect the happenings within the TR don't be given in areas. I will say this for the fact that there was a pronouncement that was made here, of course, for good reasons. And by coincidence, my team of investigators had to conduct an arrest somewhere. And this is a cognizable crime. It's a felonious crime that is arrestable without a warrant. The son to the suspect confronted the police asking for a warrant of arrest. Some of these things are becoming challenges and it will have some national security implications. So that's why I want Gambians and non-Gambians in the Gambia to try to be law-abiding in the interest of reform and getting the proper environment within the entire country. That said, Mr. Chairman, I wish to thank you and your entire commission members and the lead counsel and his team for at least doing justice to this nation. I know it's a daunting task, but it's doable. And I wish to also thank my entire family for supporting me in all aspects. Although Mr. Fall didn't ask me to narrate my ordeal, but I respect that because for me, I took that as a challenge and a test on my faith by the Almighty Allah. Even though I didn't say anything, we didn't say anything about it. But I'm saying to those that had contributed in one way or the other in seeing me there, I have nothing against him and I have forgiven everybody. Even though the commissioner and the commission don't know the details, but I would want to make it clear to the entire Gambian people that I owe no grudges against anybody as far as my individual ordeal was concerned.
I
was in mile 2 for 20 months. 18 of which were without a warrant. And I was going to court until at the final end I was discharged, acquitted and discharged. But I don't hold anything against anybody, and I have forgiven whoever must have played a role in one way or the other. With these remarks, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Mr. Chair, I think it behoves me to set the record straight with regards to the witness's victimization. In his statement, he says he does not want to talk about it. He's just providing the information because he was asked. That's one reason, so I thought he wanted some little bit of privacy about that. The other issue is the violation. What I have seen on paper was not one violation, one type violation the TRRC is interested in. An allegation was made against him. On that basis, he was interdicted. On that basis, he was arrested and detained and prosecuted, and he was acquitted. According to him, his letter to Yahya Jammeh, he said he thanks the president for creating the environment for rule of law to happen in this country. We have nothing against that. Our problem is that same Yahya Jammeh did not allow rule of law to happen against other people. And that's what we focused on. So he has no complaint. I did not know that he was detained in mile 2 for 2 years without a warrant, or 20 months without a warrant. I would be surprised how anyone would get into remand without a warrant. But if we did know that, certainly that is a matter that the Commission would be interested in. And this is the reason why we have to do these things, so that we can have a country in which rule of law would be taken for granted and not used just as a matter to extol the leadership, knowing full well that it is just pure talk and not supported by any facts. Thank you.
And was the 20-month summer detention at mile 2 after your participation in the panel?
Oui, so tay lebbi nogas di anduda be nangino ma be teguma mile 2 so tay ko nde joino don e on panel nde dum yawti ko on wattu.
Yes, Chairman, yes, it was from 2008 September to 2010 May.
Ko gila 2008 September to 2010 May.
And the other panel members, did they also go to jail?
There's many
panel member be no jail be anduda be wonno e panel on kambe kadi so tayno be nabino be mile 2.
I was with them there. They were my best of friends. Some of them would console me when they had those problems of going to the NI here and there. Sometimes they would come and say, police keba. Then we confirm. We had established a very, very good relationship.
No, what I'm after is going to mile 2 after fabricating reports that went to the AG, on the basis of which convictions were made.
Yes, it is after that.
It was after that?
It was after that.
And the other panelists, what happened to them? Did they also go to jail like you?
No.
Some did.
Some did. Mysterious ways that God's act.
Karma.
Thank you, Mr. Dembaso, very much for your testimony. And we will meet again tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Meeting is adjourned.